haven't been live in like 2 days because, frankly, there has not been nothing of interest to me to talk about, except for Dame Dash, which I will update you guys on, in the court decision with Rockefeller Records. Listen, I saw this thing just a little while ago via the BNC News, that black news channel, whatever the fuck, and it was almost amusing. So they had a march today. They had a march, DC, and they nicknamed it the Black Women's March. Now, I know a lot of y'all want to hold this congratulatorily and want to make it look like it's something that should be celebratory, but I think otherwise. I think this was a ploy by some liberals once again. And I will explain right now. Hold on, I'm going to share this one quick. Let everybody know I'm live. If you're coming in, don't go anywhere. All right, guys, I'm back. Hey, everyone, what's going on? All right, so this Black Women's March that they had today was definitely in the paradigm of libertarianism. It was definitely in the paradigm of supporting democracy, but not the democracy that you have known previously, a new form of democracy. and in my opinion, spearheaded by Marxism. And I'm going to tell you why I keep on talking about Marxism and Karl Marx. Because I know this shit. I know it very well. It works into really, hey, Star Pepper, what's going on? It comes into really, which a lot of you guys sit back and you give your conspiracy theories and et cetera about. There's actually people that believe these theories, and they know what I was telling you guys. If you caught that live that one night that I did, I was kind of tired, so I didn't really say it right. But Marxism has been a placemat within Black Lives Matter. And a lot of people that are, I won't say more educated than others, but a lot of people that have prior existing knowledge of Karl Marx and people like Karl Marx. You know what I mean? I love to give with brother Zoe Williams to talk about this because he would know exactly what I'm talking about. This ideology had been implemented. You got to understand, the creators of Black Lives Matter, and I'm going to show you how all this tie into play. The creators of Black Lives Matter, these girls are Harvard girls, okay? So I know many of y'all have been going to accolades like Harvard or here in Connecticut with Yale. Go Yale. But unfortunately, everybody's got different lives, you know. But these women, they're educated women, right? And I saw it from the beginning where they were implementing not only libertarianism, but they were also invoking Marxism, but they were waiting for the Marxism portion of it to kick in, maybe after they've been gained some momentum with the movement itself. And that's what I saw. Now, some people will disagree with me. Some people won't agree with me, but I give a perfect example. I saw this the other night, and many of y'all didn't see that live because I made it private. And the reason I made it private because it was kind of sloppy to me. But your guy, Mark Lamont Hill, the same one that got into an enraged in battle with a judge of over 50 years, Judge Joe Brown, has never practiced law a day in his life. This is a sitting bench judge, Judge Joe Brown. Now, what's going on, guys? This is a funny thing. Judge Joe Brown got into an argument with him around the premise of Bill Cosby. Now, the premise of Bill Cosby, we all know that argument, and I'm not going to reiterate it. But the new premise that Mark Lamont Hill made an ass of himself is when he had a woman that was on his show. And I believe that woman's name is Miss Wheeler, and I can't think of her first name. It'll come to me in a minute. But I believe her name is Tina Wheeler. And she was on the show, and I'll get the name right again. And I'll actually make the video that I made private public after this one again. But I wanted to make sure I clear some things up. She runs her own podcast, and she gives her own theories and, whatever. And she plays a position of the not far right, but the right. Meaning she's a Republican, but she's not an extreme Republican. I don't like extreme Republicans. I don't like extreme Democrats either. I'll make all this tie into this black woman's march. Just listen to me. So Mark Lamont Hill had this white woman on the show. And like I said the other night, you ain't gonna listen to Massa daughter when she talking to you. I mean, if you have that type of ideology and that's your thinking pattern, y'all ain't gonna listen to the very least, you ain't gonna listen to Massa daughter. You got your motherfucking mind if you don't listen to Massa daughter. That's the keys to everything. That's her daddy. Dumb motherfucker. So instead of listening to this woman give her diatribe about Marxism and give examples of why she believes Marxism is playing a large play to overcome capitalism, which is our current structure, she gave examples. And she also gave the trajectory of how minorities would be used to play the pawns in the game of this, as they have been under different people that have practiced Marxism have alluded to. Now, it's a difference. Mark Lamont here was trying to give example, and he was trying to say to the crowd, hey, listen to me. Give me an example, you know, the whole befuddle shit. And I don't do the befuddle because that's what he exactly started doing. He started going, befuddle. You know? This is live on camera, though, or at least on a pre-recorded tape that they uploaded later, being that their vehicle is Facebook mostly. I mean, YouTube mostly, as it seems to me, which they're hoping that they can get some, I would assume, more backing or see what the numbers are before they try to expand it into maybe, you know, gainer in some, you know, FCC realms and satellites come into play, satellite signals, but or distribution like Revolt is with AT&T. Revolt TV, if y'all know what I'm talking about. This woman was literally giving the play-by-play of how it was going to go down, and Mark Lamont Hill refused to listen. And this comes with a lot of men that have this arrogance in them of they know everything. Well, let me tell you something. A lot of people get mad at me when I say this, but I'll say it again. I know that a lot of you went to college, you went to school and everything like that. A lot of you have made amazing achievements, and I don't want to denounce none of that away from you. But there's a portion of the African American and Latin community that actually grew up with white people. Decent white people, I underline. And it's a very big difference. It's a difference in our personalities, it's a difference in how we react to things, it's a difference, and they're neither good or bad or either or fraction. Each one of them plays their part in society, please believe that. I've lived both lives, I know. But there's a distinct difference if you have not lived the other life, if you understand what I'm saying. And it comes to counter each other when you get into discussions that are made to have intentions of making a play. And I think that's what these ladies were doing today at this black woman's march down there, which it was more than just black women, it was women. But let me tell you a little bit more why it was labeled women. Women. See, the first mistake these women made was you had spent so much time trying to deduce your own men that the only men that I saw down there were attorneys. And the attorneys that were down there for the sole purpose, and most of these people, I believe they had traveled from Georgia, and I'm assuming Florida because it's very near. I mean, you can get to Miami to, not Fort Lauderdale, Miami to, Jesus Christ, in like 2 hours. And that's at the top of the state. I can't think of it right now. Fort Lauderdale right up the street from Miami. But needless to say, these women drove to D.C. Every last one of them was arrested. Every last one of them was arrested from my count, or many of them were arrested. And these were women that were prominent women. They had lawyers on hand before they went down there, so they knew what they was doing. But my question to you is, why wasn't there an influx of men that wanted to play security? That's what I can't understand. This is a clever but a simple example of how you're rallying in public, talking about, go get you a white man, you be all right. Why struggle with Raheem when you can have a Steve, right? All that shit. That's why there wasn't no motherfucking men down there. There should have been at least, they said they came down there in the bus, there should have been at least 2 buses, 1 bus full of women and 1 bus full of men. Appropriately attached. Army, Army, Marines, ex-police officers, senators, and trained men that are licensed. These women didn't have any of that. Now, the same amount of money they probably used to bond themselves out, the same amount of money they used, the amount of time they lost protesting and advocating, they will not be able to gain it back. Only thing they garnered back was a motherfucking press conference while they were getting released from jail. And I call bullshit. I saw these women, and I saw the full press conference when these women were outside, and they were talking to the cameras. And the first thing that caught my eye was one of these broads had a Black Lives Matter t-shirt on. I automatically deduced her ass right then and there. I said that once upon a time it was that, but not now. You've been found out. You always infiltrated back with Freddie Gray by that Antifa motherfuckers. And they did it easy. That's what bothers me. They did it easy. A couple people gonna know what I'm talking about. A couple people ain't gonna know what I'm talking about. Y'all can take it however you want to. And I'm not talking about individual fractions of Black Lives Matter across this country that actually believe that they're making a change or whatever. But look into your group. There's the same group that collected $90 million last year, and this group's founder, who is a Harvard graduate, let's put that into terms, managed to accumulate, what was it, 8, 9, 10 houses? In a white neighborhood, but she is the voice of the movement that says why you need to get, why you ain't bombing Africa? Take everybody back, $90 million, you could do some Marcus Garvey shit. He bought a steamship at least. If you were that dedicated and the followers that follow your doctrine and theory-based inoculations that you think, social inoculations that you think are needed for us collectively as a society and a culture, then why the fuck you ain't buy some property? Y'all gotta start pointing out the Chuck. So I'm gonna get back into the Black Women's March today. And more Chuck I saw. Every last one of those women on that camera made sure that she yelled at the highest perplexity of her voice. She made these women sound more than like they were talking in front of the fucking grocery store than they were. What you doing later, girl? And we all know people like that. You know what I mean? If you're Italian, you know people that are a little bit less, a little bit more Italian than your ass is. It displays on a daily basis. Put it that way. I grew up and saw that with my own 2 eyes. There's a big difference between, no, I ain't gonna say, D'Amico and Dominic. It's a very D'Amico and Dominic. It's a very big difference. Very big difference. I call him D'Amico, but it's D'Amico. I always mess up his name. He knows that. Let me tell you guys something, right? I'll tell you one time. This is a ploy to get momentum for some bullshit. And if I had to call some bullshit on it, they was hoping that some cameras were going to be out there. I'll even go as far as say, I think they were hoping to get arrested. To keep it really real with y'all. Because everybody knows, once you get arrested, them cameras come. You know what I'm saying? Once you get arrested protesting, and you were protesting, quote unquote, about something, cameras come. You can't tell me any different. I was in the music business 17 fucking years. I seen too many cameras. I seen cameras when motherfuckers were first doing 2K, and that was a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Now they talking about introducing 8K, well, they have introduced on some Samsung phones now. You know what I mean? So let's not play here. This is all about the camera. This is all about being seen. This is all about trying to get momentum. And these women, out of all three, one of them had a Black Lives Matter shirt on. I said that right now ain't the time. And all these were aunties, old women. You know what I mean? Save cries and shit. And we gonna change it. Y'all gonna have to do something if it slave cries, you know? And in many cases, they articulated slaves that they birthed. You know what I mean? This is a bullshit march. They didn't have any men down there, which is most eerie to me because there was no men there. I want to underline that there were no men there. So were the men there not there voluntarily? They're just like, yo, we ain't fucking with these chicks. Or were the men there because they were not asked? And even if the men were not there because they were asked, or either or, how come you didn't have hired security going down into a situation like that? Especially in the Capitol. Do you not know a motherfucker tried to run a car through the Capitol, like shortly before, I forgot when, but it was, I think last year sometime. And then there was some other wacko that set itself on fire in front of the Capitol. You lucky they didn't drop all of you. That's my point. Black women's march. What are some of y'all unilaterally just like one subculture within the culture? Because I'm fucking confused. I thought this was about black people. And you guys are making it about the black gender group of females. And so if you include feminism in this whole march, if you include Marxism, which I see it very apparent within the group of this Black Lives Matter shit, and because of Antifa, and socialism, capitalism, you all mold that into it, you're gonna get one big fuckery, all used by former dictators at one time or another, whether it be Mussolini, whether it be motherfucking Adolf Hitler. They all try to implement these little scrolls, and they did them by fucking with people of ethnic or religious difference. One time it was the Jews, that's with Hitler. Another portion with Mussolini. Another portion with North and South Vietnam. You know, it's always been a war of shit like this. That's why I tell people before, and I tell people again, you know, one of the biggest problems right now, and I'm gonna make an example of this. One of the biggest problems now under communism and previous communism and the decades of it in Cuba right now, and I hope you guys are checking out the articles I'm sharing about Cuba in the community section. If you don't know how to get to the community section, just hit my name, and then it'll take you to my page, and just scroll to the right, and then when you get to the far right, just hit community. A whole bunch of stuff is going to come up. It's a fight for resources in Cuba right now. Same thing you saw in Puerto Rico, same thing you saw in a lot of other places. You know, it's a fight for resources. Which I'm taking the tail end, I'm going to segue into something different in a second. But I'm going to expound on a little bit more about what I mean by that. In Cuba right now, one of the biggest problems was, specifically in the northern parts of Cuba, one of the problems were, southern parts of Cuba, one of the biggest problems were isolation. See, when you're out there in certain parts of southern Cuba, even central Cuba, you're in the middle of the fucking jungle in some cases. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to climb through shit. Like, trust me on this. To get to somebody's house, maybe. You know what I mean? Or even to go urinate or whatever. If someone has to have an outhouse built right there or whatever, they might have a public one. You know, you might luck out with that. But, yeah, it's different over there. And now it's a fight for resources. And it's the same thing I keep indicating that's going to happen here in the United States. You're seeing this is the 5th time I've heard somebody talk about increasing prices when it comes to groceries, increasing prices when it comes to insurance. And, you know, you have a lot of people walking around pretending like everything is all right. Motherfucker, you in debt. I worked for millionaires for 17 years at them record labels. I know when a motherfucker going broke. I worked in the marketing department. It was our job to get you back popping so you can get some money. Simple as that. I can tell, and the harder you try to, see, let me tell you something, right? I've been around everybody you could think of. Y'all see there about the pictures, the videos on here, everything else. I'm not easily impressed by people at all. But what grinds my shit is when somebody will think or insinuate because of the color I look or the way I look or I should look a certain disposition of them, we'll always find out in the end, I grew up better than you. my people have more money than you. My people not in debt, with you least half of the shit that you have, including that high-ass mortgage that you thought you could pay for 30 years. Did you really think you was going to keep that job for 30 years, Billy? Do you think this is 1952? You lucky if you keep a job for fucking as long as I did. I kept that shit for 17 years. So what we deal with arrogance, belligerence, narcissism versus reality. That's what I mean. That's what a lot of the staple it in places that people live at right now. You know what I mean? As a society. So I don't take no distinction when I say man, woman, or whatever. But what I'm finding is more women of color are. And this is creating an area where when that fight for resources come, who are they going to be on the side of is what I'm concerned about. Whose side you really on? You know what I mean? Who you riding with? Because I will let you know, don't you know? I will push a chick off a bridge and call it self-preservation. If that's the case. If that's the position you take it. I call that a declaration of war in any other country. Hey, Wonder Woman had the Amazons, right? They were fearful. It's the way I look at it. And that's how the energy, the messages, and everything else are being put out there. You know what I mean? We have women killing men now. You know, sneakily, in the sleep, shit like that. And it's been going on for whatever, but increasing it. I just watched this on Department of Justice channel, which was kind of crazy. That's not the actual channel of them, but it's a channel that's revolved around, it's meant to emulate, but it's a channel revolved around subjects and matters like that. So CDC and people like that, Department of Justice, if they're investigating it, I always take it as verbatim. It's something around it. It's something around it. It's something around it. So I just asked, what side are they on? And why was this called the Black Women's March? That's just like fucking arrogant and shit. You know what I mean? What happened to the Black People's March? You know, all that shit that come out the 60s and shit, 68, under, all that shit that come out of there was about the people together in unison. And that's why I asked the question, I posed the question, nobody's answered it yet. Or is there a portion of, because it's not all black women inclusive in this. It's definitely not. There's some glorified, beautiful, generous, good-hearted, talented, devoted, faithful, loyal as black women out here. Ned Foster is one of them. But I'll tell you right there, I'll tell you right here, there's far too many of these chicks doing wrong. And doing it on purpose. And if you're outside the culture, it's hard to explain this to somebody. Does anybody know what I mean by that? If you are not a part of the culture, it is hard as fuck to explain what this bitch is doing or this Steven is doing at the moment. Steven or Sally. We're gonna call them that. I'm gonna mark that up. Steven and Sally. Miss Steven and Sally. Mr. Steven and Sally. Mr. Steven and Miss Sally. How about that? I like that. Miss Steven and Miss Sally. Then woman yelled out something that stuck in my mind. She said, we're going to return back to slavery. I said, but you sound like a slave. You sound like a slave. She acted like if the opportunity didn't come up and they could be like, here's 1 million. Just shut the fuck up, shut this whole shit down. She wouldn't do it. You got to test these motherfuckers. That's what I be trying to tell y'all. Y'all been waiting 15 years for Umar Johnson to open up that fucking school. Where that? Meanwhile, he wanted to talk shit about Puff, and Puff opened up a charter school, top of the line charter school of that, and put it right in the hood. This motherfucker put it up in the country at a closed campus that he didn't refurb yet. So he probably bought it off auction 9 times out of 10. I've never seen the deed, so I don't know. You gotta watch these motherfuckers. You know why I always put up those videos? Matter of fact, here's something else I bought. But I forgot to fucking clip like a dumbass. That's why I'm recording like this. But that's why I always put up videos of whatever I take my donations and what I do with them. You know what I'm saying? So y'all know, and and I like how somebody wrote that, because I didn't even think of using that word myself, and I'm most of the time pretty articulate, but we all have our fucking days, right? She said, I'm very transparent. I am very transparent. I had to be very transparent. Y'all gotta understand, I'm a young, old motherfucker. I had to realize that, and even though I'm in shape and everything like that, and I keep myself together, everything like that, you know, I got an old soul because I grew up quick. You know, I've been in the music, I was in the music business since I was a kid, literally. You feel me? Like this is 2000. So all my 20s, all my 30s, I was in the music business. You know what I'm saying? And I did every fucking thing that people I know 4 times my motherfucking lifespan or 4 times my whatever won't ever do. They'll dream about it. They'll get even someone come close, but they won't do in the proximity because of the people that were providing it, which I will give Puff all the glory for that. Puff and Clive Davis. We went everywhere. You know, I put up so many pictures and videos and shit, but there's stuff that I don't put up. Like there's a video on here of us and John Quaid. This is when John Quaid first started too. And that's all of us on the road trip. I think we was on going to Georgia at the time. But yeah, man, good times. And you know, there's a whole bunch of videos down below. If you just hit my name and just scroll, you got to scroll a while because I got a lot of material put up. But if you scroll down towards the bottom, you ain't got to go that far. You'll see a whole bunch of videos of me in the studio at Daddy's House Recording Studio, which is Puff's studio, and a couple other stuff in there. I think it's a couple clips of when we did this one thing with Interscope with Soulja Boy, worked his project, and it was somebody else too, I forgot. Somebody else was there that day too. It was Soulja Boy, T.I. I think T.I. was there that day. I was out in Queens Plaza. We had fun with that. This Black Women's March and this Marxism, and I want y'all to spread this, because a couple of y'all motherfuckers come on here. I have some big names to come over and check me out. Y'all stop pretending like y'all don't come check out Pana Pai. Esto sabe, claro. Fuck out of here. Y'all love Pana Pai, don't you? There's a whole bunch of big time bloggers that come check me out. And I know it's because of the numbers. We at 1.7 million now, y'all. 1.7 million in 8 months. Crazy. So I dig it, you know what I mean? But take the message of what I'm saying and expound on it more and distribute it out. And dare the next vlogger to expound on it as well. See, the vloggers, y'all done got like motherfucking, I'm gonna tell you why a lot of these ideologies and why a lot of this, not only this communist views, Marxist views, libertarianism, not only just those, but socialism, and a couple other, in my opinion, archived ideologies that should have been archived ideologies a long time ago, but have never been. Now, since Fidel and Raul over in Cuba, since them two have now, I mean, you know, it's over. What will become next? But, and just stay with me. The problem that you see when I was talking about this fight for resources that's going to come up, I'm going back to that. And when I'm talking about what was this women's march really about? Was it about just women showing themselves and not really having any clear goal? Was it about women just wanting to be seen on the camera and yelling? None of these women were articulate, in my opinion. These women yelled on camera, you know? And the way that BNC, the Black News Channel, the way they fucking delivered it, I didn't like it all. I thought it was very, I told you, this network is going to be based on the premise you see from Al Jazeera, because it's an Arab owner of this BNC network. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's on YouTube. You can look it up. It was incepted by the same guy who bought the, what is the name of the Carolina Panthers from Bill or Bob Johnson. They used to own BET. He bought the team from him. So this same guy, he's actually now the owner of this Black News Channel or whatever. This guy's an Arab guy. A lot of the constituents and a lot of the reporters on there are also Arab. And I know from watching Al Jazeera, not only here on YouTube, but watching Al Jazeera America, Al Jazeera, the European version as well, I knew the difference between a lot of things, the way that they have projectionally, how they put out their videos. So I was like, all right, I looked at the shit and I said to myself, I said, you know what? First time I saw them do a broadcast on YouTube, I said to myself this. I said, you know what? These motherfuckers are slick. They basically took the format of Al Jazeera and CNN and meshed it together. You know what I mean? They actually meshed it together. And I'm like, yo, what's going on here? And if you look at any footage from Al Jazeera, if you look at any footage from CNN, and then you put it up against the background of what that news channel looks like, you will see what I'm talking about. And I will hope that they somehow scale down and get their own aesthetic, interiorly speaking. That's the best way I can put it without being insulting. Change your palette. Now, this is what I wanted one segue onto. So I watched the movie just last night at about 2 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't get to sleep. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Purge series, but I watched the last Purge. And if you guys know, the past 2 Purge movies have been about, the center focus has been on black people. The first one was, it ended up segueing into that halfway in the movie. There were some notable crazy characters, but basically they did these in ultra urban neighborhoods with a multitude of different casts, black, white, and Hispanic. And to their tribute, all these motherfuckers look like the motherfuckers that would live around there. They get so good with the casting, it's pathetic. Because sometimes I'll watch movies, I'm saying this from a media perspective, but sometimes I watch movies and I'll be like, yo, it could have done better with this person would have played it, or this person would have played it. But this movie was perfectly played by each character to perfection. So this is the last Purge, and it's the newest Purge. And I'm going to tell you guys a quick background and premise on the movie, and I hope to encourage you to go watch it off what I'm about to tell you. And I'm going to tell you how I'm going to roll this into everything I was just previously talking about. So please stay with me and hit those like buttons if you're here, please. The last Purge takes off in the beginning. I'm not going to tell you the whole movie or spoil it for you, but the whole movie takes off this time in Texas, in rural Texas. And it's with a cow rustler and a wrangler, and the incoming Purge, as is always is yearly, is coming up. Thing that changed this year was nobody wanted to end the Purge. There's a heavy influence on the Latin community in it. And you have 2 lead characters, I would say, which are husband and wife. One of them was ex-militia in Mexico that used to actually shoot cartel members. This is the part she plays in the movie. And then there's another, which is her husband, who is just a straight jíbaro, as we say in Spanish. But good guy, by jíbaro. Entonces sabe pero la campo. Straight from the country. Great movie proceeding in. What happens when they actually have the Purge is this time, it continues the next day. And the next day. And the next day. And hence the terminology, the forever Purge. So it gets out of control, and you have people from city to city to city, major cities specifically, which would be the case here. I live 30 minutes outside one major city, and where I'm at is a more than mid-sized city. You know what I'm saying? In all accounts, it's a beautiful city. This starts happening nationally. So everybody's now got 2 choices. They give a chime and they say you got 6 hours to go to Canada or 6 hours to go to Mexico. All right? So the whole premise around the movie is them getting to Mexico, really. But the shootouts and the problems they have along the way are crazy. Now let me pinpoint in, let me unpack this for you guys a bit more. The political aspect of this movie more so grabbed me than anything, and I think it will with most people. There are so many gems in this. You know, there have been so many people that are notary people, like Stephen King, and you know in my opinion, know the person that would say that there's imagery and there's message within media. You know what I'm saying? This goes all the way back to Orson Welles when he did War of the Worlds. People actually thought that was happening because it was happening on the radio. So they actually thought it was an alien invasion and went crazy. Well, in this movie, The Purge, the Forever Purge, you see so many political placements. One of the political placements that you see mostly is the placement of the Latino culture and how the whites in this particular part of Texas felt about that. And I merged it together with what I was clearly seeing on the news just lately. It was like, if it couldn't have been a perfect time for this movie to have been released, it would have been now. Because if any of y'all know, and why the reason this march happened today with the Black Women's March, was because the pure simple fact that the Texas governor has now issued the arrest for mostly women of color if they come back from D.C. to Texas, these senators. Because they won't, and they refuse to vote on a measure about voting, which I don't know all the specifics, so I don't want to sit here and give a guesstimate, but yeah. Well, this happened in Texas. And the fight over it was then, they had, I'm talking about the forever Purge, they had people actually riding through the streets, and they were what you would call a vigilante type. But these vigilante types spread. This is like a virus. This is why I always talk about critical thought process, and not only critical thought process, but when I also mention things like psychology and how notes and tones and music affect people's behavior. Well, the same thing goes visually. If people see people misbehaving or acting up, a lot of people that have always had that contention to hold that within them will literally start doing the same. They will say to themselves, okay, it's okay. This is another one of the problems in this upcoming, in my opinion, fight for resources that you're going to see happen in America. It may not get violence, but it will have temperament. It will have temperament, believe that. You better bet your ass it'll have temperament. They did it with the Jews when they first immigrated here, and it was during the fucking Great Depression, which is basically what a lot of motherfuckers are trying to pretend to be right now. I mean, there's some people that held on to their money, but most of the people that are out here right now specifically are just fucking pretending. You done maxed out your credit card. You know, once you got you a Chime card now, because that little $200 come in handy, don't it? I know. I know all the tricks. I know motherfuckers get 6 or 7 cards at Barney's or Gucci. Put somebody else shit on it. Oh, I'm good. You don't see my new red bottoms? Bitch, them shit's on lease. Let me get back to what I'm talking about. I always get off hand sometimes. My point is, right, a lot of people out here pretending in the climate we are, but we're in a sort of depression right now as it is. This is why you're seeing all these infrastructure bills and all this shit being passed, and a 3.5 trillion bill now on the table. Listen, 3.5 trillion versus what normally would probably be about 300 million they would put towards shit like that. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll say that for you again, because that motorcycle was going by. 3.5 trillion versus maybe 300 million, 400 million they would normally spend for the same thing. In a regular world. So that's how much of a drastic difference you have. So when I see people pretending and shit like that, I just be like, yeah, it's over for you. You have to live in the now. That's why I guess I'm so popular on Facebook, YouTube here, is because I'm always honest. You know, I try to be. And I try to be like transparent. And I tell everybody, I'm the same. Most people that know me from the fucking offices, like everybody that knows me from, like, if you were at Interscope, if you were at Atlantic, if you were at Ariston, you worked in those offices with me, you know how it was. I walked in there, I cursed, I didn't give a shit really, but I made progress all the time. Always got it done. So fuck you, you know. But a lot of people, yeah, sure, motherfucker. Facts. Some smart ass walking by me. He thought he was in the moment. Point is, what you got going on right now in society, what's depicted in this movie, is the same thing almost mirrored and pillared to Texas and what's going on down there right now. Texas has become a haven because of the Republican governor down there and his stern, in my opinion, conservative Republican views, close to Mitch McConnell's end of conservatism. I think though that place has become now a safe haven for the rich, multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar companies. It's become the safe haven for taxes not being ripped out your ass, which is one of their problems down there. They like to tax people instead of collecting taxes, like most of America's been doing. That much I agree on motherfucking Biden with. You definitely need to tax the rich more. There's no reason that Jeff Bezos is talking about for leisure, he's going to outer space. And motherfucker, you ain't paid taxes in years. Hold up, bitch. You got money to link a satellite, but you ain't got money to pay taxes? It's about to take Nas to jail, wasn't it? They took Method Man. They took Fat Joe, and that was chump change. They owed $2-3 million. You know, they got it, though. They had it. You saw how that went. Only person that ever had a problem was, what's this guy's name? Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes had that problem. The rest of the guys, they got out of it. They paid it. All right, yeah, get the fuck on. And fire my CPA. Now. Now. Let me tell you guys something. This movie woke me up to something that's happening in the United States because they kept using the same word, slaves. I listened to this same terminology be used even locally by the people in Texas on regular footage from their news down there. Now I'm hearing the same terminology almost reiterated in this movie, and I said, well, what the fuck? Is this a play? Is this theater that we're watching here? Because this movie, I caught it last night. Now, I don't know if it's nationally in theaters right now, but I know it's coming out soon. I got it off one of them channels, you know what I'm saying? Don't ask me the link, nigga. I ain't telling you, might fuck it up. But, you know what I'm saying? Don't ask me the link, nigga. You might get it fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I like the wackos is on that channel already. I don't need no new wackos. They got a chat over there so people can talk and shit. You know what I mean? As they watch it. But people say some fucked up shit. You know? That's why I don't do online gaming too much in the communities, because I'll be like, yo, all right, motherfucker, what's your address then? You know what I'm saying? That's me. This movie not only inflicted how society is drawn towards, but it depicted one thing that pointed out to me more importantly than anything. How a lot of the minority cultures over here almost think that they fit in fully. And I just signed it specifically in the Northeast. Now, when I've been to Chicago, Texas, or whatever, it's ooh, they let you know. I don't like niggers, but I don't hate Mexicans more. You know what I mean? They'll say it to your face and have a pistol on their hip as they say it. Oh, you don't know Texas gun laws? It came out July 4th weekend. Okay. Thank you, Annette. You guys got to see that movie. Make sure you check out that movie, The Forever Purge. I don't want to tell y'all too much more, and I know I'm kind of like paraphrasing here and everything, but I try not to fuck up the movie for you. But it's a lot of shootouts. There's a lot of empathy, and shit work out for them, but not America. And you see the tables turn. America right now, as far as GDP, is far behind. And I don't understand why these motherfucking Republicans got a problem, because look here, bitch, you done passed 2 bills already. I'm talking about bitch McConnell. Now, bitch, listen. You done passed 2 bills already. How much that set you back? About 4.5, right? You're going to continue to have to do at least 3 more bills after this one's done. At minimum 2. Okay? They'll be centered on infrastructure programs, shit like that. Try to get America rebooted, as we would say. Right? Same thing to go with a record budget. It's not going to change the temperament where America is right now. It's not going to change I'll say that again. It's not going to change the temperament mentally where America is right now. See there, and that said it clearly. Every Purge movie that has come out has reflected the current issues at the time of the year. That's exactly right. But this right here was so cynical. And when y'all see this movie, y'all gonna understand, oh, I understand what that nigga was saying now. I understand now. I get it. Let me go over here and put this in so-and-so's ear or whatever. That's what y'all need to do. I got 12 motherfuckers come to my page every day and dedicate their life to disliking my page. But motherfucker, you stopping info from one out. So how much of the part of the people are you? That's why I said this Black Women's March, the shit that's happening in Texas, all this shit is like unilateral to me, you know? And a lot of people, and thank you for pointing that out. Thank you for pointing that out, Annette. And at this point now, it's just like, yo, are you guys really gonna bite the bullshit for a couple more years, or what are we doing here, you know? That's what I want to know. And a lot of the time, what I'm seeing is this. People are now fret and scared of the pure simple fact that they may or may not be able to get to the next month, the next year, or whatever. And it's causing a temperament with people, and that temperament is not being addressed at all. Not being addressed at all. And it's sad, because if it's not addressed soon, well, you're going to see an all-out problem go on in society. Believe me or don't believe me. Guys, don't fall for this Antifa bullshit that was pulled today. And I hate to say it like this, and I'm not disrespecting black women. I'm disrespecting this portion of mammies that was out there on that old tribe. You know what I mean? Ooh, we's gonna get free. We's gonna get free and all that shit and all that shit. Fuck all that shit. You got to get out and vote now. Now hush up and hair up now. Mouse and Benson coming. You want some pancakes, ass bitches? No, see, I'm not disrespecting their efforts. I'm disrespecting their motives. Their motives were to get on camera. That's what their motives were. Their motives were to get on camera. Paying attention to what's going on. When I saw the preview, I was like, that's going on right now? It's going on right now. Right now in society. She's talking about that Texas shit. Guys, I'm going to get up on off of here. I'll be live with you guys again. I don't want to go into too much of that. Hopefully, maybe some of y'all right now will go watch the Forever Purge. If you have a vehicle to go watch that online. If not, go to the movies and go see it. Or try to catch it on, Netflix, wherever people go. Thank you, mama. Thank you. And yeah, guys, if you like any of the material that I throw out or whatever, this is how I make my money. So it's $STRINGERBELL80. Again, that's $STRINGERBELL80 at Cash App. You can also find out on the replay. Just hit that little thing that looks like a letter, and it will take you to the chat room and everything that happened in the chat room doing that live. So make sure you guys check that out, because you will miss a lot of things if you don't. And I done bowed in. I'm gonna tell y'all guys this right real quick before I go. I done bowed in. Google is my whore master. I done bowed in. So I'm gonna have the super chats up and see if that changes anything or whatever. See what goes on. So I'm gonna have that up and ready to rip, because I think a lot of people, what happens is they don't want to hop offline, or they don't have a device that they can hop offline and then come back. They think they're gonna miss something. And I get it, because somebody else just told me that recently. So I said, okay, that makes sense. She said they're right then and there. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna listen to that advice. I'm gonna open up the super chats, and that's when we're gonna have the next run. And another thing I'm gonna change is too. Make sure you donate, because I want to get some equipment, especially before it gets cold, man. That's the two main things I need: equipment and furniture. The whole works I need, So it's a worthy person that you're dealing with, and I make sure to show you by example what I bought. You know what I mean? I learned that people like transparency, and I'm glad somebody pointed that out to me. But I was doing that initially, I was doing that already. So I got good heart, good gumption, and I'm a good goddamn man. I have too many people of opulence and every other perspective of life that they come from tell me that, So, all right, guys, I'm out of here. I will talk to you later. Take care.